I went to acting school, but go ahead and glue this carpet to my face. Really, no. I've never really thought about my dream comic series, but...
Running around just like, do, and then you're going to hear me falling down the stairs. What's up, everyone, and welcome to Last Week in Star Wars. I'm Alex.
I'm Molly.
We've got some comic news. That's mostly what news came out this past week. We're going to talk about Celebration panels and just everything that went down. But just speaking of Celebration, I wanted to talk about how real that's starting to feel.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to, set clothes aside.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm starting to, mentally prepare myself to pack, because packing is difficult for me.
Yeah.
You know this. It takes me a full day to pack.
I mean, a day, I was going to say a week, but...
Well, yeah.
Maybe a combined 24 hours.
Yeah, a week including, planning to pack.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
just mental preparation.
Maybe 2 days, one day for, clothes, and one day for hair and makeup and, just general skincare stuff.
I feel like we're doing pretty good, though. I'm feeling confident. We actually just got some new toys, some new gear, so that we can pack a little lighter. I'm really excited. We got one of those, DJI Osmo pocket cameras, so we don't have to lug one. We probably will bring one of these cameras, but we can have that out and about vlogging at Celebration. A lot of times we have our friend Zach with us, and he handles all that, but he's not coming this year, so...
Can you imagine if we did have Zach and all he had to carry around was that little guy?
Yeah, I mean, he would love it.
He would love that.
Yeah.
As a photography nerd, I'll probably still bring one of our nicer cameras, but we tested the pocket cam out over the weekend, and it was so nice. It's so light. It's got a built-in stabilizer, films in 4K, films at a high frame rate so we can do slow-mo stuff, and it's it's this big.
And we got the little wireless microphones that pair with it. So lots of fun new toys.
So we should have a decent vlog for this celebration.
I hope so. Yeah, a lot of my problem vlogging is just carrying around a camera and a gimbal, and then you see something cool walk by, and by the time you get it all ready, it's gone. But this is you can just have it out and hold it. It's so much easier. But yeah, when this video comes out, we'll be leaving for Tokyo in just over a week's time. So we have one more week to finish prepping all the videos that are going to come out while we're away. And it's a lot. It's daunting, but it's exciting.
Yeah. I said this the other night, but I feel like this won't feel like a vacation until I'm on the plane ready to go out there. Because, all the anticipation that we're feeling now is all for Celebration, but we're going to be able to just kind of relax a little and explore Japan for a whole week ahead of time.
A little more than a week, yeah. And I mean, especially, this past week was stressful with the panel reservation system. We'll talk about that in the Last Week in Fandom. I felt like it fit there the best segment. But for now, let's talk about some of the news that came out this past week. I would say the biggest news dropped just before we started recording this. Sebulba's coming back. Sebulba returns. He's going to be in a mixed reality game playset, they're calling it.
Yeah, a lot of interesting terms.
A lot of terms that I personally don't understand.
I don't know why they're not just calling it a game.
Well, this is called Beyond Victory. It's going to feature a new pod racer named Volo Bolus and Sebulba. It's set around the time of Solo, and it's said to have a heart-pumping, engine-thrumping experience, which to me says, and Sebulba, obviously, are we going to be in virtual reality in a pod racer?
That's gotta be it.
That
engine thrumping is the only way to describe the...
Yeah, A+ onomatopoeia to Kelly Knox, who wrote that article.
Yeah.
But,
I wore my vintage pod racer shirt today.
I didn't even notice that. Well done. I should have gotten out my pod racer Lego sets. But I know we've talked about this before when people have asked, what video game would you want to come out? We've said many times just an updated Star Wars pod racer, but we've also thrown out the idea of how hilarious it would be to pod race in VR, just because it's so fast and terrifying.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. We don't play a lot of VR games, and this one is specifically exclusively for the Meta Quest 3
Yeah.
and 3S, I think. So, and we don't have that.
No, I got the first Quest, I think, back when they were releasing the Vader Immortal and the Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. So I have played those. I wasn't crazy about the headset. That was years and years ago. I'm sure
It's
the
probably better
technology
now.
has improved, but I remember it just giving me a headache, like physically how it fit on my head.
I bet one of our friends has one where we could test it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, I would like to experience it, although it does say that there will be some booths where you can play it at Celebration, so we'll definitely try to do that.
Yeah, I think they said there would be over a dozen different stations to get the chance to play this.
Which I am very curious just what mixed reality means. Like, I looked into it a little bit, but mixed reality play set, those were all words that, like, yeah, separated, I know what they mean. And when you combine them, I'm like, I'm not really sure what to expect from this. From what I read, it's like mixed reality is kind of like augmented reality. So I'm wondering if it, like, scans the room you're in and then just kind of makes it all look Star Wars-y.
Yeah, but like I'm wondering once you if there is an element of like getting into a pod racer and flying it, do you need to like run around the room? Or can you just sit and do that?
Just run right into a wall. I assume you get to sit in a chair.
Listen, game developers, give me a call.
Because you're gonna see me
I'll be there
running around just like do, 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 and then you're gonna hear me falling down the stairs.
I'll be there for all the stupid questions that you may not remember to think about.
Yeah, cut to me running down the street of our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Making all the pod racing noises.
They did say in the announcement that there would be several different modes of kind of gameplay. So I'll be interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah. So interested to learn more about that. Also, there's going to be a tie-in prequel comic by Ethan Sachs that's coming out, which again, I think you can only get at Celebration.
Yeah,
So
they
that's
said
interesting.
just like as only as a giveaway at the booth. And then they listed where the booth was going to be and what number. So that's unfortunate, I think, for anyone who is really excited for this and loves comics and like
And love Sebulba.
and loves Sebulba and like wants to get their hands on this. If they're not going to Celebration, then I don't know if they'll be able to.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's some super necessary story to the canon.
Right.
Like, it's about Sebulba. So it's just going to be, I don't know if fun is the word. He did try to murder a child, but I assume it'll be somewhat lighthearted.
Yeah. And it's set during the time of Solo.
Yeah, that's cool. Also in comic news, this is something that happened right after we recorded last week. So we did miss the Dr. Aphra comic announcement, which was a huge relief to me. I was very curious if Aphra was going to be coming back or not, and we kept hearing about all the ongoing series being the main Star Wars run, Jedi Knights, and Legacy of Vader. And I was like, oh, no word of Aphra, but she is returning. It's a comic called Chaos Agent, written by Cherish Chin, with art by Gabriel Guzman, coming in June. And they did give a little summary that says, with her crimes pardoned, Aphra is enlisted by her friend, Luke Skywalker. Friend? Are we calling them friends? Frenemy, maybe?
Associate, workplace proximity associate.
Temporary allies sometimes. Anyway, Luke wants to put her treasure hunting skills to good use on behalf of the New Republic.
This sounds like a fun story. I think the synopsis said something like she's going to meet her match and get her ego checked a lot in this series, which is always a good time.
I'm just glad to have her back. I have more 000 stuff than I have Aphra stuff, but I think that the character is just super fun. It was something that I remember enjoying her in the Kieran Gillen Darth Vader run, and then when they announced Aphra's getting her own series, I was like, oh, kind of surprised. That was like very early in the canon. I think it came out in 2016. So I was like a little skeptical, but then the comic came out and I was like, this is so weird and wild and fun every time. I have enjoyed both of the ongoing Aphra runs, so I'm excited to revisit it in a new era.
Yeah, it's got like a little bit of Indiana Jones kind of feel mixed with, I don't know, what would you describe her story so far?
Definitely inspired by Indiana Jones, but she's far more chaotic. Like, she is introduced by stealing something from a museum. Like,
Oh, I gotcha.
yeah. So she doesn't necessarily want to preserve things. She's more out for herself, although that has changed over the course of both runs. She has become a little less selfish.
Yeah.
But as the subtitle for this new series suggests, she's not any less chaotic. I'm just hopeful that it continues to pull in really weird stuff. Like, all of the Aphra storylines, like, they always swing big. They don't always connect. Like, I don't love every arc that they've done, but they've always tried to do something really wild, and I appreciate that. I don't know any of Cherish Chin's other work, which isn't surprising. I don't really know much about the comics industry outside of Star Wars. But Cherish said, "In my humble opinion, there isn't a more fun character to be writing in the Star Wars galaxy than the one and only Dr. Aphra. Cooking up new adventures for her in this new era, throwing her into increasingly tricky moral quandaries and testing her resolve, alongside some familiar faces, has truly been like playing in the ultimate sandbox." So I think that we're going to probably hopefully still see some characters from Aphra, like 000, BT1, Magnatolvin, Sonostaros. I kind of expect that they'll continue to weave in and out of her story. The last bit of news isn't comic related, but we did get our first look at some of the Celebration merch that's coming out. I think this is like booth specific merch, not the Celebration store.
Like the exhibitor exclusive stuff.
So like Hasbro has a Black Series Ronin, which I'm not like a big action figure collector, but that does seem pretty rad. I do kind of want that because it's like black and white and very stylized.
Yeah, it is all black and white except for the lightsaber.
Oh, well, sure.
Which is a nice touch.
You gotta have the red lightsaber.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if it will go into the little hilt that he carries around. That'd be cool.
I mean, everything on here looks really cool. There's a Star Wars Visions Micro Galaxies Squadron ship that looks kind of neat. I was expecting a little more.
I mean, this isn't going to be the only
I know
announcement. I know Lego put out that they're going to have like a display plate of some kind that just says Celebration.
Yeah. Oh, this Desserts by Moncrieve or Crev. That looks good. They're like little chocolate and waffle cookies. I'm done for that.
I'm going to buy some cookies.
As if I am not already planning to eat everything I see.
Stuffed full of ramen and sushi, but give me some cookies too. I like the white porcelain Vader also, but that terrifies me to try to get that back home.
Oh, yeah.
I don't trust my ability to pack that well.
I didn't even see it was porcelain.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really heavy and really fragile.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be very nice and high quality, but I'm like, there's no way that's making it home safely unless that's just my carry-on and I hold it like a baby the whole time.
Maybe there's like a way for them to ship it.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah. And I'm sure like the box that it comes in is probably like the Gentle Giant boxes where it's like stuffed with
styrofoam
and all that. But yeah, it would probably take up a lot of room in your luggage. So be prepared for that. Something I almost expected them to have, similar to London, was like a tea set.
That might be something at the Celebration store. I could see that.
Yeah. I guess, was that at the Celebration store in London?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking
I think it was Celebration specific merch.
I think that would be really cool. I did wish that I had gotten the one from London, but again, our luggage was completely full and we didn't have any extra room.
So we're going to try to do better this time around.
We plan to have more room this time.
We plan to. We'll see if it happens.
Or we plan to buy another suitcase.
Yeah, great. Are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle, and can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, snacks, and more. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience that can't be beat. I've tried weeks worth of Factor meals, and they're perfect for fitting lunch into my busy schedule. I cook breakfast in the morning, and Molly and I cook dinner together in the evening, but finding time for a good lunch has always been a struggle for me. Factor is simple and quick to prepare in the microwave or oven, and the meals taste good. I usually choose their Protein Plus meals that come with chicken breasts or pork tenderloins or beef. They taste good, they're quick to make, and they definitely feel like a step above a standard microwavable meal. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/StarWars50off and use code StarWars50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code StarWars50off at factormeals.com/StarWars50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Sticking with some celebration talk, we'll move into last week in Fandom because we got to go through the stress of panel reservation this past week. Anyone that's going to Celebration, they have changed how they're doing panel reservations again, which was frustrating and stressful. And we're just kind of like annoyed that you have to enter the Hunger Games to get tickets, get hotels, and now get panels.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Everything about like leading up to Celebration is kind of like you're so on edge and you feel like there's nothing I can do to help my chances with this except to like try to really be on it and on time whenever things drop. I couldn't think of a better way to run this. Like, I feel like this is kind of a lose-lose for everyone, but who knows?
I feel like there has to be a way to at least make it more equitable. Because what bugs me the most is seeing some people walk away with all 3 celebration stages and other people walk away with absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think you should be able to prioritize this panel I definitely want to try for the Celebration stage, and these I don't mind as much. And maybe limit it to like per ticket you can see one big panel on the live stage and the others you have to go to the streaming stage for.
I'm sure it would be a difficult program to write, but yeah, like that was my suggestion, is that you rank the panels in order of what you want from most to least. And then it goes through like the program or whatever can try to assign every person one celebration stage first and then go through and maybe everyone gets 2 celebration stages. Like just try to balance it out and get everyone something at the very least.
I'm sure that would be really difficult to do because you have who knows how many people on the same website like staring at the little queue waiting to get in.
That's why I'm like, it wouldn't have to be just a one time all at once everyone's trying. It's just when you get your ticket or when they announce the panels that are going to have reservations, you just rank them. And then at some point they run this program and then they just email you, hey, here's what you got. I don't know if that is feasible at all. That's just my idea.
I try to keep my cool when it comes to the panels at Celebration because, like I said, it's difficult to organize an event this big and try to give everyone what they want. So I get that it's difficult for Reed Pop to do this. They still seem to really muck it up almost every time, but
I don't understand why like we couldn't groups of people can't put in for panels together.
Right.
So like we didn't get any of the same stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think. And we did like we got more than some people, so I want to be grateful for that. Like I got Visions and Andor Celebration stage and Mando and Grogu Galaxy stage.
And for me, Mando and Grogu was completely out, and I think I got Andor at the Galaxy stage and then Visions on the Twin Suns stage or vice versa. So, it's better than nothing. Like you said, we know people that got all Celebration stage passes and got nothing. So, yeah, it kind of stinks, but
honestly, I still think that a lot of this would be solved by just streaming all of the panels to the Star Wars show stage. Like, all the main panels should be viewable by anyone that goes to Celebration. And that's what they used to do, I think. I mean, like 2019, you could go to the Star Wars show stage and watch the panels live.
There's not enough space They would be there would be like a fire hazard if they did that, and then everyone would just go in there to watch the panels, and then no one could like move through that area.
But that's what they used to do. Like, I don't understand
Maybe
why
it used to be smaller.
I don't understand why they used to be able to just stream everything to everyone that went to Celebration, or like give them a streaming ticket that they can watch it from their hotel room or something.
Yeah, that would be fine. I think like physically for them to just stream everything on the stage there, it would, because the stage is usually like right next to the exhibit hall. If there's too many people taking up room and all in one spot, then it becomes a fire hazard. And
yeah, I mean, I guess you would have to limit that too, but I think that it is kind of crappy that you can pay all this money to fly across the world and go to this convention, and there's a chance you could see absolutely nothing. Like, give some options out for a streaming ticket for one IP address or something, or just other places to watch. And I feel like it used to be that way. 2017, we streamed The Last Jedi panel and the 40th anniversary panel from our hotel room.
We had to.
Yeah. And I feel like it was maybe the first Mandalorian panel where I think that panel was streamed except for like the little trailer that wasn't quite finished. That was not streamed out. But that's fine.
That was at Chicago?
Yeah, that was 2019.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's totally fine to just have some things for just the people in the room, especially if you don't want it to leak or whatever, even though it's going to.
It always leaks,
does.
And they do a great job. They got people in all the rows, making sure no one's recording it on their phones or anything, but there's always one that has like a super secret, maybe a little spy camera in their glasses or something.
Right.
And they're recording it. I don't know. So that's kind of difficult to control.
That's why I'm like...
That's why they should just show it.
Yeah, don't prioritize that so much. Like, the secrecy of everything. It's like, just try to focus on making it as much fun for everyone as you possibly can. Anyway, all that said, we've talked about this before, but the panels, to me, are not the best part about Celebration anyway.
Right.
So, like, I know it's stressful, and in the moment, you're like, oh, I want to get as much as I can, and you might be really bummed if you got nothing, but it's still such a fun time, and, like, I would be bummed, too, if we got 0 panels, but I'd still be excited to go, because I know that there's so much other stuff to do.
Yeah. It'll be fun no matter what. And if you didn't make it into one of the main big panels, just check the panel schedule and see what smaller panels are happening at that time block and go to a small one.
Yeah, there's a lot of great fan panels that are going to be happening at the same time as the major panels that look like a lot of fun. I just don't want to be like beating up on it too much, but you know, every year when they do panel reservations, it feels like there's some constructive criticism to be given.
Sure.
So I don't want to gloss over it.
Yeah.
But moving on to last week in canon, we're going back to comics. We had 2 new issues come out this week. It was Fear of the Jedi issue 2 and The Rise of Skywalker adaptation issue 2. So we'll start with Fear of the Jedi. This was a fun issue. It kind of builds off of the High Republic Adventures 16 from last week in the sense that the storm wall falls again off screen.
Well, yeah, they realize it's down.
Yeah. So at some point, I think we're going to read about the storm wall falling, maybe into the light. But the storm wall comes down. So Kiev realizes she can rush in and help Naboo, which has been under Nihil occupation. And all the Nihil retreat and head to Eriadu, which is where things are going on in the High Republic 16. So this feels like it took place slightly before the High Republic Adventure 16. I'm able to piece the story together fine, but I do kind of get the sense that the release schedule has been misaligned a little bit here.
Maybe. Yeah. Like you said, we might see the storm wall actually coming down in a book into the light, which is coming out, next week?
On the 1st, yeah. Yeah. So
I'm still curious if this is some kind of trick or a trap, like for the Nihil maybe the Nihil took the storm wall down themselves to like try to get everyone off into one spot. I don't know. I'm not like fully trusting it quite yet.
I'm taking it at face value just because they do kind of bring up that idea of like, is this a trap? And they in both of these comic issues, High Republic Adventures and Fear of the Jedi, it just seems like this big triumphant, the storm wall is down, and it feels like we should have known about it. So that's why I'm feeling like we're going to read about it, and then this is all going to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Which works fine for me. I mean, it doesn't really bug me much.
It's more that I feel like Phase 1 was so well aligned that you would read about one thing and then see those events ripple out in other stories. Whereas for some reason, this time around, things just feel slightly off chronologically. Mm-hmm. But yeah, once the whole story is out, it's very easily pieced together.
Yeah.
I did like the issue. I like all the characters in it. It was still very creepy. There was like a child of the storm messing with all of their thoughts and fears.
Oh, yeah, the one that was like hooked up to all the cables.
Like a fear-enhancing machine, which was interesting. But I thought this one issue just did a really good job at building up the importance of Eriadu, where I've been kind of like, why are we doing this big battle of Eriadu in the High Republic Adventures? I just never really understood why this was so climactic. Mm-hmm. And then in this issue, they're saying like this is like a linchpin for the Nile. That if we lose Eriadu, it's all over. The occlusion zone falls. And I'm like, oh, okay, well.
But we don't know why.
Right. But at least there's something that like, I don't know why Eriadu has become so important to the Nile, but at least there's been a statement of this is why it's important to them.
Did the Nile say that? Or did the Jedi say that?
I think the Nile said that.
Okay.
And the other new issue was The Rise of Skywalker, Part 2. I thought that the first issue did a lot of adding just new context, new scenes. There was one new scene in this issue between Maz and Leia, which was nice.
I liked seeing her talk to Maz and like asking her for advice and for her wisdom, because we know Maz is really old. So it's nice seeing Leia be able to have someone like that to kind of rely on.
It is interesting, especially as we go into like the New Republic era, just post Return of the Jedi. I wonder if we could ever get some scenes where Luke and Leia and Han, well, we have seen Han at Maz Kanata's castle in the Battlefront 2 game, but just a little more about their relationship. Mm-hmm. I think Forces of Destiny was the first time we saw Leia meeting Maz.
Oh, yeah.
But we could see their friendship continue to develop in the earlier comics.
I mean, I look forward to these issues because, yeah, that we're getting these little tidbits that we didn't get in the film. We got a cool shot of Dark Rey, Empress Rey.
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
And Kylo Ren with Rey on the throne. That was neat.
Yeah, I appreciate the additional scenes of stuff like that, because like Rey describes seeing that, but we didn't get to see it, at least not clearly.
Yeah, I think we saw a very similar like concept art piece of that, but seeing it in the comic was cool.
And I appreciate that the comic is kind of rushing through story beats we already know, so that it can give us a little bit of new.
Yeah, we like got right over to Kajimi, got right through the 3PO and Babu Frick stuff.
Which that's often something that I criticize about the comic adaptations, but I'm like, if you're rushing specifically so that you can show us something new, I'm okay with it. We're moving into our last segment. We have Last Week in Questions. We took some from our patrons over on Patreon, and I did want to shout out that right now, I think we just released our Severance bonus podcast.
This one gets heated.
Yeah, it's our Beyond the Stars show, and since Severance Season 2 just ended, we did a little wrap-up and theorizing and tinfoil hat putting on.
Mm-hmm. Tinfoil hatting.
Yeah, that's a good verb. That's a better verb. So that's available right now on our Patreon. But our first question comes from Brino Lira, who asks if The Mandalorian and Grogu could encourage more low-budget Star Wars movies in the future.
Perhaps. I mean, I kind of hope that it does. I think in general, movie studios should at least try to work from lower budgets. But I wonder if the biggest reason why this has a lower budget is because so much of the stuff that they're using has already existed for the show.
Yes, I definitely think that's helping. But I agree with you that outside of Star Wars, I kind of feel like movies have just become very bloated in their budget. Like, I think, Hollywood always follows patterns, and The Force Awakens was part of like the resurgence of these legacy sequels. I don't think it was the first one, but it made over $1 billion, and Hollywood's eyes bugged out and their jaws dropped and their tongues rolled out. And they were like, oh, we should just make a bunch of legacy sequels. And it became this thing that, like, if you spend $500 million, it's like, well, you're gonna make $1 billion. And that, like, the MCU seemed to prove that over and over at a certain point.
Right, until the pandemic.
Yeah, and then things just got derailed. And I don't think it's just the pandemic. I think that it's also, audiences shift in what they do and don't want to see.
I think the pandemic really kind of, I don't want to say helped, but I think it made people realize that they could do without a lot of things. And one of those things is going to see movies at the theater, which is like good but bad for depending on what your goal is. If you want to save money, yeah, if you realize, hey, I don't have to be spending a ton of money going to see movies every weekend, you'll save money. But then you have these huge budget movies doing horribly at the box office. And I understand that it's going to take some time for the whole system to kind of shift due to what people want and what people are doing and wanting to go see. So, yeah, maybe we'll see a shift over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like, Avengers Doomsday. We were just, we saw all the chairs get put out and everything.
Oh,
and
the chairs.
All
Chair
the chairs.
ChairCon.
But
I'm going to go as one of those chairs to DragonCon.
That's a hilarious idea. That's a great idea. Yeah,
don't sit on me.
But, like, just the cast alone has got to be a gigantic spend for Marvel. I mean, I think they already said that Robert Downey Jr. is making $100 million just between those two Avengers movies.
That is a ridiculous number for money.
It is.
For one person to make that much money, I think you said 2 films maybe.
Yeah, it's about like $50 million per movie. I don't know.
Does he not have enough money?
He deserves to make what he's worth and all, but
I don't know how much money he has.
Like, anyway, and also, not just to throw shade at Marvel, like, Harrison Ford made like $20 million to be in The Force Awakens, and I'm like, okay, that's, yeah, I know that the movie's gonna make $1 billion or whatever, but it's so much.
It is so much. And to see the rest of the cast in Doomsday, do we know how much the budget is for this?
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, it has to be enormous.
It's gonna be huge.
And I'll be very curious to see if...
I mean, they'll make it back, I'm sure.
I think they will, because, like, the Marvel movies at the box office have been very up and down lately, but the Deadpool and Wolverine did very well. It made over $1 billion, and I feel like this is following up in that same vein.
Yeah.
I mean, I got excited when Alan Cummings' name popped up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, Nightcrawler's back. Let's go. Like, that did get me excited.
The reason I think why I believe that this will in fact make its budget back and like actually make a profit is because all the fans of like the old school, not old school, what am I saying? That's making me feel old. All the fans
the
of
late
the
90s comic
the
book
not
movies.
so old but still kind of old X-Men movies.
Yeah, the movies that very youthful people saw and grew up with.
Sure. It's reaching a much larger fan base than just Marvel people, right? And it's piqued a lot of people's interest because they're like, oh, I remember that character in this movie. Like, I want to see them come back. So I think it'll do well, but is it setting a precedent for this to just continue being like a thing in Hollywood where you have to make this massive cast, massive budget. I don't know.
Well, I think that they just need to figure out what is worth the huge spend, because I think Marvel has been throwing a lot of money without considering whether or not it was worth it. They just kind of like, I think we're assuming, well, this is going to make $800 million or $1 billion or whatever, and then it wasn't, and they were like, oh, maybe these films weren't worth that risk.
Yeah, it almost makes you think, like, how much are they actually thinking about this? Or are they not? Which is even more depressing.
I think Disney, for a while, was just like, if it has Marvel or Star Wars stamped on it, people are going to see it, no matter what.
And that is not true anymore.
It is not true anymore. And so, yes, to pull it all back to Mando and Grogu, I think that this is good, that they were like, we know what we have here. The Mandalorian and Grogu already has a solid fan base, but we don't have to go absolutely bonkers
right,
and give it a $500 million budget. We can rein it in, and I think they're being a little more careful.
Yeah.
and that's what they need. Maybe Avengers Doomsday does need a $600 million budget or something.
Ugh.
But not everything does.
Yeah. I was pleased to hear the budget for this, just because I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. We've been hearing for years that like Disney wanted to scale back a little bit on how much they were spending just cranking stuff out for Star Wars and Marvel. So they want to kind of adjust where and how much money they are spending, which I think is smart.
I think Disney just gets into these patterns, and Hollywood, but with their live action remakes and Star Wars and Marvel, that they're just like, something's working, strike while the iron is hot, and crank out as much of it as we can. And now, like, Snow White is tanking, which, I mean, we still haven't seen a single Disney live action remake. I just don't care. But clearly enough people did.
Well, people with kids, too. Like, that's something that I also think is why Mando and Grogu is going to do great no matter what, because kids like Grogu.
And only kids.
And kids and me.
Kid at heart.
Big kids also like Grogu, but it's kind of
big kids who aren't old, despite having grown up with the 90s X-Men movies.
Listen, I still feel like a kid. My knees don't, but I do. When I think about how Deadpool and Wolverine made a ton of money, I think it's because Deadpool appeals to not just like the comic book fan Marvel audience, but to like the rated R audience, who's like, most Marvel movies are just like not cool enough for me, but they know how violent and crazy Deadpool is. Right. So like they pulled in a new group for that. So like I think Mando and Grogu, it'll be Star Wars fans, but then all the kids that have like grown up watching Grogu and like love him and have backpacks and cookware and all kinds of stuff with his face on him. All the kids are going to be like, I have to go see this movie.
All the kids. I can't wait to see it 5 times with you.
I don't know if I want to see that much. We'll see. Oh, I did want to point out, I forget which episode it was. It might have been the most recent Force Center episode, but Jen Landa was talking about how much money Star Wars was also saving because they don't have to pay Grogu.
Oh, sure. He's the big... I mean, they don't have to pay the 2 leads that much.
Right. And this goes way back to like when Mandalorian was first coming out. I was like, this is a super smart move to make your lead actor someone with a mask on. So like technically it can be anyone and anyone can do the voice. And then your other lead for this is a little puppet.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it worked so well, and that is another reason why they're saving a lot of money, I think.
I fully agree that you just need Pedro to do the voice. Grogu, I mean, he's an expensive puppet.
But, oh, yeah.
Like, but not you get to use him in future. A, they already have a bunch of puppets. B, if The Mandalorian continues into season 4, it's like this is also an investment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure.
Anything Grogu related is an investment.
Sure. Jordan Blaney asks, what background characters would we like to see more of, similar to Mon Mothma's growing prominence? So someone who was in one scene of Return of the Jedi, then deleted scenes, and then one scene of Rogue One, or a couple scenes of Rogue One, but then, now she is like a household name for even casual Star Wars fans.
Yeah. I mean, my first thought for this were kind of other characters around Mon Mothma doing similar stuff. So like Crix Medine.
Sure.
Like I always
he's
think
like
about
your half Glup Shido at this point.
He's such a weird little guy.
Where does he
looks
rank?
So strange.
Where does he rank on your Glup Shido now? Because there was a time where you were like, maybe Crix.
No,
and then you went to Ristal Sant.
Yeah, not that high. I just think he looks weird.
That poor man, like, hey, I know you don't have a beard, but we already have the action figure and it has a beard, so now we have to tape this to your face.
It really does look like a chunk of shag carpet.
Yeah.
Just.
And he's like, great.
He's blonde, too.
He's like, I know how to do Shakespeare.
I went to acting school, but go ahead and glue this carpet to my face.
My first thought is someone that we have thrown around the past few months. And
Biggs.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone expects me to go to Biggs, but I want to do Tack Renid. I want more pirate stories, and I want to go, like, very piratey.
Yeah.
And just, let's do... It doesn't have to be the story of how he wound up crashed on At-Aten. Let's just do, like, a pirate series of some kind. Yeah. If it's a comic, if it's an animated series, any of that sounds fun to me.
Because, yeah, everyone knows what a pirate is, what their goals are, what kind of, like, tendencies they have, and what kind of stuff gets in their way. So that is something that kind of fit in just about any, like, IP almost. And we've seen so many different pirate characters and like small pirate stories in Star Wars. I think a pirate centered series or movie would be a great idea.
Thank you.
Good job. This is something that got talked about a lot when Solo came out, but the Cloud Rider gang.
Oh yeah, Enfys Nest.
Enfys Nest. There is a lot of potential, I think, for that group to tell a story there, and I would love to see that.
Weasel just popped up in one of the Jakku comics, so the Cloud Riders are still around. I don't think there was any mention of Enfys in there, but yeah, I would definitely like to see more from them. Like, I'm kind of shocked they haven't shown up in more comics.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it for last week in Star Wars. Next week, we will be covering Into the Light. Well, we probably won't have read it by then, but it does come out.
We'll see.
And Ghost of Agents issue 2 comes out. We'll definitely cover that.
More Bad Batch.
We'll at least mention Into the Light. I'm sure I will have started it, but I don't think I'll have it done by Thursday. We'll see. But until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
And consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.